Hi, everybody. Welcome to Gems with me, Curry Glassell. Gems, if you haven't been on before, that stands for, and what a cute an acronym it is, G-E-M-S, Gems, glamour, elegance, money, and sex, but not necessarily in that order. We just have it in that order because it turned out to be gems, and I love gems too, so what can I say? It's all about me. The podcast is all about me. No. Anyway, yes, actually it is. So, listen, this morning is interesting. This afternoon, wherever you happen to be around the world, I was talking to my creative producer, and she said, lately people have been, I've been aware of people who are panicking about money, or they are, well, what I would call being extremely unwise with the money they do have. So she mentioned that she overheard that someone had gone to a seminar, and I'm not sure if they could pay for the whole seminar, but they didn't plan on being able to pay or buy a ticket back home from the seminar. Okay, so this is something that kind of is boggling to my mind, actually, because it's not a thought I would ever have. But if there are people out there who think that when they go to a seminar, they will magically turn into somebody different or magically receive that pot of gold at the end of the little rainbow. Okay, first you have to catch the leprechaun, okay? If this is going to be your belief system, then in order to get that pot of gold, you're going to have to freaking catch a leprechaun, okay? Now, I have no advice on how to tell you how to do that because I've never seen a leprechaun and I don't know. So that's like asking, wow, that's like that's like so not of this reality or any reality that I can grasp, okay? This is some kind of fantasy this person is stuck in. Now, if I would break it down to give you a tool, the first thing I would do is begin to ask questions. So for what reason would you, person I'm talking to, would you go to a seminar without the money to transport yourself from the seminar back to your home? So my second question is, what do you love about being a beggar on the street? So for me, if you don't have any money, first of all, how'd you get the money to go to a seminar in the first place? There are so many unanswered questions here. I would begin to ask questions, but I would also say, get a job, right? I mean, you need to get a job. Everybody has to have a job to support themselves in this reality, to pay their rent, or you end up a person on the street. Now, if your target is to end up a person on the street, you can become a panhandler. That's the type of job. Or a hooker, that's a type of job, but usually hookers either have their own apartment or they work for a pimp. So is this what you're interested in creating? If that is, I have no judgment about it whatsoever. Just know that this is what you're in the process of creating. Be honest with yourself and go, okay, cool, this is what I need to do right now. If you're expecting other people to pay for your life, good luck on that one. Now, that is where you are completely misled and in some sort of fantasy reality. I have not yet met anyone other than a parent who pays for someone else's life. And mostly they do it until they're 18 or 21, until they get out of college, and they're called your children. You know, you're a parent and you have children. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about being, any other thing. I'm specifically talking about the only people in the world I know who pay for other people. So these are children. They're called children. Now, this whole idea of panicking about money can completely be avoided because you don't put yourself in a position to be panicked about money in the first place. So what are the questions would I ask? I would look at, so what are you unwilling to do to generate money for you? What are you unwilling to be that would give you what you require, desire, or need? If we're working on that base level. I know for a fact that McDonald's is still hiring people. Is that something, are you like, oh, I would never do that? Well, I'm like, well, maybe you need to do that for a little while. I mean, I would look at what you're unwilling to do and be that has created this place for you where you've ended up, because if you are the creator of your entire life and living, which is the premise of Access Consciousness, that we are the creators. That's good, bad, and ugly. That means you created the shit you're in. And that's the bad news. But at the same time, it's the good news, because that means you can change and you can create something different. So in addressing the idea that someone would panic about money, so where does panic come from? Unfortunately, I wish panic was a distractor implant, but panic, I think, is just an absolute lie, or either it's an indulgence. You see, actually, it's probably more of an indulgence. So if you don't know what to do with yourself, you go into panic thinking something else is going to occur. It's like worry or anxiety. Does it actually create what you're looking for it to create? Does anxiety create? Does worry create a change? That would be a no, Bob. But it is something to do if you're looking for something to do. You know, you can sort of run around with your head cut off. I'm very, very clear about that. Been there, done that before. It actually didn't produce anything for me, strangely enough. Unless, of course, you're doing it on TV and getting paid, because it's called Telemundo, it's called soap opera, and it's an entertainment. Now, if this is what you're really good at, hey, there's a job for you. Acting, you know, I mean, really and truly, if this is what you want to do, then you should take up acting, because at least you can get paid for being a drama and trauma queen or king. Panicking about money. Well, is that, gosh, panicking about money. Why would you choose that? Why would you choose that? I mean, there's so many other choices you could make. I mean, if you're really, really down on your luck, you know, usually people go home and live with their parents. I just watched a movie on the plane last night about this girl whose husband left her for a younger girl, and she got fired from her job all in the same week. And she was a research scientist, right? So not a dumb woman. And so she goes home to live with mom and dad at 50 years old. And I think it's a really interesting exploration, because I found myself basically alone in debt and out of work in my 40s. And it takes some courage. It takes some determination. It takes the willingness to make a complete change in your life, because whatever you were doing up to that point is what got you there. So it can change, and you have to choose it. So basically, your life is your creation. If you'd like to choose something different, then do, and don't expect anybody else to pay for your life. That's really not going to happen. If you need to go live in a shelter, there are people, you can look online, there are people who've lived in shelters and they've determined they would get out of the shelter and get a job, and you can get a job while you're in a shelter. You know, you can probably get a job at Walmart pretty easy. I've met people who work at Walmart, and you know, they range from high school education to high school dropouts to people who are interimly working there because they got laid off, you know, even in the oil and gas business in here in Houston. So what is it you can do? What is it you know about? And how can you put your hands to work? You know, it makes me think of, you know, idle hands are the devil's workshop. It's so funny because I live in the South. And really, truly, if you're a humanoid, you need to be doing at least 10 to 15 things, or else you will make yourself crazy, and you will drive yourself crazy, and you will judge yourself to death or to brokenness. By the way, judging yourself can lead to death and brokenness. It is the one thing you can do that will destroy your life. Continually judging you, avoiding acknowledging you, and avoiding taking 2 steps into the future. So this is kind of a weird podcast, but then again, we talk about weird things here. And there's probably a lot more we could talk about. And when it comes to what exactly do you create and how do you create the money you have, you know, what choices have you made that have created where you are today? And that is probably the big question I would look at. What choices did you make, you know, to put you where you are today, and what can you change? What can you change right now in this minute? You can change things. You have the power. What is it? And what can you do? So, wow, kind of a serious gems today, folks. And what else is possible? And wow, how does it get any better than this? You know, when things go really bad, I say, how does it get any better than this? Like when I was in the court scenarios, when things are really good. And, you know, I've just gotten an unexpected check from an oil and gas investment. I go, whoa, how does it get any better than this? So I would suggest this as your tool for today. How does it get any better than this? Even if you've gotten yourself into a panic situation, well, why don't you just destroy it and create that point of view and ask more questions? What else is possible? What can you do differently? Where can you go? You know, what would it take for you to get a job today with total ease, doing whatever, you know? I mean, there are lots of jobs out there, but your point of view is what is creating your reality. So if you're willing to change your point of view, you can have a new reality, no matter what your problem is. All right, so there, I think we made it in 9.54 seconds. Okay, so thanks for listening, you guys. I am just so happy you're enjoying this. Oh my gosh, I've got, I don't know how many downloads, but we've had 15,000 people listen, and wow, what else is possible? And I'm looking to see how I can interact with you guys more. I'm putting like a page for Jim's podcast on my website, which should be up in 3 weeks. And I hope to see you all soon and have a place where we can ask questions and dialogue and woo, what else is possible? So thank you so much for listening. Have an awesome day. And just remember, a question empowers. The answer will always disempower. Ta-ta for now.